Feeling worn out, tired, not really up to the task today? Well, I got a tip for you. You see, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and I've talked about this before, but I want to bring it up again. And that is, you need to have yourself a little bit of pick-me-up. And that pick-me-up comes right in this jar for me. Look in there. Look in there. There's magic in that jar. There's some pumpkins, mellow cream pumpkins. And look at that. There's Indian corn in there. And regular candy corn, too. My goodness, there's enough energy in there to launch a space shuttle. That'll pick you up. If that doesn't do it, you better check your pulse. Now, I only buy Brock's. You buy what you want. But once you try Brock's, you won't buy that other stuff anymore. Just buy Brock's. Go to the store, go to Amazon, go wherever you have to and get Brock's. And then here's what I do. I eat the candy corn with the peanuts, the honey roasted peanuts. You go to Walmart and get these. These are really good, actually. These are the best ones I've tried of all the brands I've tried. You get some of those great value honey roasted peanuts, and here's the secret, guys. You see in there? See those little black dots in there? Those little dark dots? That is Nestle Toll House milk chocolate morsels. So I buy 2 jars. And, being an engineer, I can't help myself but to do everything by the formula. I buy 2 jars of the honey roasted peanuts, 1 bag of the Nestle Toll House milk chocolate morsels. None of this dark chocolate stuff for me. It's got to be milk chocolate. I'm American. I like milk chocolate. And you mix the 2 jars of honey roasted peanuts with the 1 bag of milk chocolate Nestle Toll House morsels. And you mix them all up in a big bowl, like the bowl you serve popcorn to your kids with at movie time. You mix it all up and then you put it back in the jar. And then you have enough peanuts and chocolate chips to last you a while. Then, and here's the secret. Don't tell anybody, okay? Don't tell them, just between you and me. You take about 2 or 3 of these candy corns. You take a small, tiny pinch of these peanuts and make sure you get a morsel in there with it. And you put them all in the palm of your hand. You tip your head back, you open your jaw, and you throw them in the gullet. And you chew those things, and boy, I'll tell you what, before you are done chewing them, you're going to feel energetic. This will get you going. This will make it so that you can get through one of these. So, let's get on to this. So I've had my peanuts and my candy corn and my pumpkins, so I'm ready to go. I want to give you a closer look at this RCA before I start working on it, and I'll only make a video as I go through, like I said, a couple stages at a time. I don't want to bore you with the rudimentary stuff. We all know how to do that, and we've all seen videos on that. But I want to give a closer look. I did this in the first look video, but boy, this is worse than I thought. So I just want you to see that. You see that wire? This is what I'm talking about, guys. Now watch this. See that? This is what you will find in late 30s and very early pre-war 40s radios. See that? That's nasty. That's bad news. And I'm telling you, every wire in this radio will be like that. Every wire that isn't cloth insulated. And some of the cloth ones, by the way, don't kid yourself in thinking that all cloth insulated wires are going to be okay. Some of them, that cloth is so brittle that it will crack as you move the wire around. And you don't want that either. Most of the time I can get away with, if it's just starting to do that, I'll take a little bit of lacquer and like a fingernail polish brush. So what I have is a couple of old fingernail polish jars, and I fill with lacquer. Just, the brushable lacquer you can buy at Lowe's. I put that in there, and I use that, and I brush it on the wire, the cloth-covered wire. And what it will do is it kind of prevents those the fibers in the cloth from breaking down anymore, and they're less likely to cause problems if you leave them alone, because the lacquer is going to be brittle too. So you leave them alone, and that adds a little bit of insulation, and it protects the cloth from further degrading. But I can see there's a few cloth covered. This is, but very few. And these are brittle too, but if I leave them alone, I'll be okay. What's really strange to me, and I can't figure out why, some colors in a radio will go to that a lot sooner than other colors will. But you get to where you get to know what they look like when they're getting ready to, and they'll start to crack and so forth. You want to take care of it. Don't leave those in radios, guys, please. Don't leave that in the radio. That is bad news. This is a hobby. You're not trying to get this out quick. You're not trying to do production work. We're talking B plus voltage, okay? The red wire in this radio is all B plus. You don't want that sitting there with bad insulation. You don't want any of it actually with bad insulation, but especially not the high voltage. So you want to get all of that taken care of, and there's a ton of it, okay? A lot of this cloth I'll leave, but a lot of the rubber, all of the rubber I'm going to have to get out of there. Look at how stiff that is. That goes. Some of them will go right down into the IF can too. So what a pain in the ass that. Excuse me. What a pain that is. On those, that's the only exception. I won't replace that wire unless I absolutely have to. Here's what I do. I will remove it from the terminal where it's attached. I'll desolder it, pull it off, lift it from the terminal. I'll heat it with a heat gun, just enough to get it where I can straighten it out. This rubber, if you heat it without melting it, if you heat it just a little bit, it'll relax enough so you can straighten the wire out. Then I take some shrink tubing. Okay, we've all used shrink tubing before. Here's an example right here. Okay, this is some orange shrink tubing. I'm sure the color rendering is terrible here. But I buy it in lengths at my local surplus store, RCA Elco. And I take that shrink tubing, and I'll run it over the wire that I've just straightened out. I shrink it down. During the process of shrinking it down, that wire is going to be flexible enough again to get it back in place, so I can solder it back in place. That shrink tubing will provide enough insulation to do the job to protect that, and then I don't have to get down into the can. I really, really try to avoid getting into an IF can. I just don't see a productive reason unless there are capacitors in there or resistors you need to replace. And in that case, most of the time the caps are mica, and you can leave those alone. And the resistors often are okay too, because it's a low current situation, and the resistors haven't really degraded much over time. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they're okay too. And so I just leave cans alone. Sometimes I'll pull the cover off to clean it, make it look nice, but I try to avoid horsing with the coils if I can help it. Okay, so here, the dog bone resistors go. I don't even test them. They just go. The only ones I do test are the high wattage ones, only because I don't always have the high wattage size, and if the high wattage dog bone is good after all these years, it's probably going to be fine. But, all this wire, then, resistors, the carbon comps I usually test, but it just depends. Sometimes on a radio like this, I'll just put them all with new resistors, and I'll do them with some metal film resistors or something that's, got a tight tolerance, 5% resistors, and they'll last a hell of a lot longer than what if I leave these in there. So I go ahead and go through all that. But this, look at that. See that? This radio is riddled with it. Riddled with it. This is going to take me forever. I'm glad. I have to have this done about a week before Christmas. I'm glad I'm starting it now. It is November 13th right now. And it's going to take every bit of the time I got between now and Christmas to get this done. But I just wanted you to get a close look at what I'm after. This electrolytic here. I'll just determinate it. I'll set up a terminal strip with a high quality 105 degree C electrolytic right here, and that'll take care of that. I won't have to worry about it. Like I said, sometimes the high wattage dog bones are good. I leave those alone if they're good. That just depends. And that looks like maybe a wire wound right there. Those are usually okay, although if they're bad, they're usually open, so you can tell right away. All right, guys, you know most of this stuff already. I just wanted to show you what I'm up against as far as the wire goes in this RCA, and that's why it will take some time. The videos won't be as fast in coming as some of my videos, and I just know they could be boring if I just let the video machine run as I'm going. All right, so go get your own radio, get your own candy corn and peanuts, and sit down and get to work yourself. This is Sunday after all, and you want to enjoy it. That's all for now.